Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Chris. I kind of waited on doing this particular video because I wanted to see how things played out with the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing. But now that we know that he was found not guilty, there are some things I want to talk about. One of them being some of y'all out there have no idea what self defense is. Self defense is if you're in a situation where something breaks out, you do everything you can to get out of it. Just an example that I've literally experienced. I was at Morgan State's homecoming once and someone got shot like two people from me. We ran like hell. That's self defense, that's self preservation. Self defense is not, hey, I'm going to go to where I know shit's going to pop off, walk around with a firearm out in the open, pointing it around, walking around like you're fucking the Punisher, and then like something happens, a shot goes off, and people think it's you, and then you respond by shooting people. That's not self-defense. The people that were attacking this kid, quote unquote, heard a gunshot go off and thought it was him because he's right there with a fucking gun. So he was the aggressor in the situation. Point blank, period. Another thing that we need to get off our chest here is, yes, the people he killed were not good people. One of them was a convicted child molester. That person did their fucking time. Whether we like it or not, whether it's like, thought it, whatever, he did his time. So while it's like, okay, I'm not exactly sad he's gone because of what he didn't deserve to die like that. And then it was saying he did. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He didn't deserve to die in the street like that. Period. He shouldn't have been killed like that. Two, another thing. He was providing first aid. Why do you need a gun? I don't know too many doctors that are carrying a fucking pistol or a gun or an AR-15. So that's not a thing. He was going there to start some shit. And that's exactly what he fucking did. Another thing that we have to talk about is, again, the cops in that area. What the fuck were you doing letting this kid even show up? Like, well, who are you? I'm Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm here to protect you to this neighborhood. Are you from around here? No. What the fuck are you doing here? Go home. He's not even from that area. So the second he went across state lines with that AR-15, he legally, per the laws where he lives, which is not Wisconsin or Kenosha, it's in Illinois, he broke the fucking law. Now, due to the weird Wisconsin law about open carry, that's why the gun charge was dropped. I don't agree with it. I think it's bullshit, but that's that whole thing. Now to this judge. I've been watching televised court trials since the OJ trial. Like I'm just putting my age out there. I'm old. I'm in my 40s. I remember that trial like it was yesterday. At no point did Judge Gito's phone go off in the middle of a fucking trial. At no point was he seen reading a cookie catalog during the trial. Like, this judge was not paying attention to anything that was going on in this trial. This judge was a joke. And the second he said, I'm not going to allow you to call them victims, even though they were victims of this kid shooting them, which makes them victims in a murder trial. They're victims. Right then and there, it was kind of like, okay, this is going to be some bullshit. And as it played out, it was some bullshit. The entire trial was fucked up. Like, the judge was working for the defense the entire time. So this kid was gonna get off probably from jump, and then like letting him pick the fucking jury out of a hat or whatever the fuck they did. In what trial has that ever happened? Like this trial was crazy, and by comparison, you compare that to George Zimmerman. This kid's gonna be another George Zimmerman. I'm gonna call that right now. Remember George Zimmerman? He's the guy that killed Trayvon Martin. He's the guy that got off for killing Trayvon Martin. He's a guy who was told by a dispatcher, hey, don't follow that fucking kid. Didn't listen. Went after him anyway, got into a fight and shot them in the chest and killed him. Ever since that has gone on, George Zimmerman did nothing but get in trouble involving guns. It happened multiple times after he got cleared from this. You would think after that happened, he would just sit down and shut the fuck up somewhere, but he didn't. This kid's art is going to go down that same road, and this is something we need to remember about him. He's still only 17. He probably hasn't really had time to adjust to this. And whoever's in charge of his life already put him behind the eight ball by putting him on Tucker Carlson's show on Monday. That's right, folks. He's doing an interview on Tucker Carlson Monday. Because that's the perfect idea for this kid. You're going to make him the spokesperson for all this bullshit. Like the fucking Proud Boys, who now are like, they now have a green light to go. We can show up and shoot motherfuckers rioting or protesting. Because we're here. No, you can't. You want to be like cops that probably couldn't pass a police exam because you're fucking nuts. You're probably a bunch of guys, want to be militia dudes who hang out in the woods and shit, firing off your guns, ready for some war that's not really going to happen. And if it does happen, if you rise up against the government, let me tell you something, they're going to kick the shit out of you. That's just fact. You're not going to beat the government because as many guns as you have, they've got more. And they're better than yours. The government's not going to do anything tyrannical. And if they did, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Like, really, what are you going to do? You show up in your fucking camo and your fucking vest and they're going to hit you with a fucking, like, drone strike and you're gone in 2 seconds. Like they've done everywhere else. So that's reality on that. But this whole situation, like, it's hard seeing this happen time and time again where people get away with this shit. Because as a black man in this country, we already know what would have happened if he was black. Kyle Rittenhouse was a black kid when they are 15 that shot 2 people at a protest. There wouldn't have been a fucking trial because he'd be fucking dead. He would have been gunned down and not allowed to go home like he was in the situation here. Like, everybody failed. This whole thing was a failure. His mom failed him by taking him to the fucking thing. Guy who gave him the gun was a fucking failure. Fucking cops in the scene that night failed. This judge was a failure. Like, everybody failed. And ultimately, who paid the price for these people that got killed? And this kid, whose life is ruined now, basically, because of all this. He's never going to be able to go anywhere and not be that kid. And again, he's just a kid. And I don't want this to come off like I'm defending him in any way. I'm not. Believe me, I'm not. I think what he did was murder. I think he's a murderer. I think he got away with murder. But at the heart of this, he's just a kid who's been manipulated and brainwashed by the people in his life to do the stupid shit he did. That's getting lost in all this. I mean, he's been failed on every level by people around him that should have known better. Like, if you're his mom, you drove him to a combat zone, basically, and let him run around. Like, what if he'd have gotten hurt? What if he'd have gotten killed? You'd be on TV crying about your baby, right? If something had happened to him, he got hurt or killed, you'd be crying about how, oh, this stuff happened to my baby, blah, blah, blah. But you put him in the situation. And to all these right-wingers who were making this kid have to be a hero, he's not. There's no hero here. There's no hero in any of this. And there was no justice either. Because today proved that sometimes justice isn't just blind, it's stupid. And that was manipulated by the guy on the bench. Flat out. He was a problem. And, like, he got voted in, and this is what you get when you vote in judges. You voted for this guy, he ran unopposed, and this is the shit that you get. If you saw, and anyone who saw this trial, like, imagine how many other people went through his court that had to deal with this shit. And his antics. Like, how many other trials did he fuck up just being who he was in this trial? It's terrifying. But for a lot of people like myself, it's just another day in America where shit doesn't happen like it's supposed to, where justice isn't served. And like I said, it wasn't. But there are more things in this situation that aren't being served. I mean, the whole situation's just fucked up. All of it's fucked up. And, like, looking at the Ahmaud Arbery case, I hope that doesn't go the same way, because it's clear that those guys, like, stalked and killed this man. It's blatantly obvious they did it, and the video showed it. He never grabbed the gun, and guy testified to that yesterday. So those guys are pretty much guilty, but I don't have any faith that they're not going to get found guilty. They're going to get found guilty. I don't have any faith in the justice system right now. I really don't. I've seen too many situations in my lifetime where shit, like, slam dunk cases didn't go where they were supposed to, and the wrong person walked out of court. I've seen it. People argue O.J. Simpson shouldn't have walked out of court. I don't fucking know if he did it or not. I don't. Like, nobody does. Like, he knows if he did it or not, but he was found not guilty. Like, I don't know. George Zimmerman walked out of court, and there was audio telling him not to pursue Trayvon Martin, and he was found not guilty. Even though right there, like, the second he went and followed him, after being told don't follow him, like, stop, he broke the law, and he got away with it. And you see the result of that. And then you see this kid, and he just got away with this. And we'll see what happens with that. But I bet you something like this happens with him again. I'm almost guaranteeing it right now. Something like this will happen again. Where he will either get in trouble with a gun or he will kill again. I'm calling it right now. And I want to say I'll be shocked, but I won't be. I won't be shocked at all if it happens, because it probably will. I mean, these are my thoughts on all this stuff. If you agree with it, cool. If you don't, hey, I really don't give a shit. I don't. This video channel. This channel is for me to say what's on my mind, to speak my mind on stuff. I'm going to do that. A lot of times it's going to involve something you may not want to hear. But I promise you it'll be my honest opinion or feelings about a situation. And that's what this is. Well, take it easy. I'm going to go grab something to eat. Peace.